PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds is probably one of the biggest games of the past year, and can probably be held responsible for kicking off the increasingly advancing horde of Battle Royale games and modes that are coming out these days. You might think that you're pretty good at PUBG, but are you sure that you know everything about the game? Hey guys, ArcadeCloud here, and today we're counting down our list to the 7 things you didn't know about PUBG. If you're new to our channel, go ahead and subscribe and hit that bell. Give this video a thumbs up and share it with some friends. It's free. Number 7. Run Barefoot because it's quieter. You know all those awesome shoes that you can get in loot boxes on PUBG? Well, it turns out that all of them are completely useless. Why is that? Using shoes in PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds is probably the worst thing that you could possibly do. Having shoes on your feet makes your footsteps much louder than if you were just going barefoot, meaning you're going to give away your position much easier. What you definitely need to do to help secure wins better in the game is just run around with no shoes on at all. The softer footstep sounds are much harder to hear. Not only that, if you have no shoes on and your enemy does, and you're trying to listen for him, then the fact that you're barefoot will make it much easier to distinguish your own footsteps from the footsteps of your enemies. So basically, not only are you able to walk around super quietly, you're able to tell when other people are walking around easier. Sounds like there's no downsides, right? Well, from a gameplay perspective, you would be right. You even run at the same speed as people who are wearing shoes. The only real issue is that now every time you get a pair of shoes from a loot box, you'll know you just got something completely useless. Well, unless you sell it to some poor idiot on the Steam marketplace that doesn't know about this tip. Number 6. Don't go prone in the grass if you're getting sniped. It might seem really tempting to go prone in the grass on PUBG. I mean, surely if you hunker down on the ground, people won't be able to see behind all the grass, right? Well, not exactly. Because of how render distances work in PUBG, if you lie down in the grass while fighting against just about anyone, you're going to be leaving yourself open. Small bits of foliage like normal grass might look big enough to hide in when you're up close, but if someone is looking at you from a distance, that foliage just won't render, meaning that little patch of grass you think you're hidden in isn't as safe as you thought. Even worse than that, there are settings in the graphics menu of PUBG that actually make even less foliage render on your screen than usual. This was meant to help people out who couldn't run the game at max settings, but good players quickly realized that by turning it way down, it suddenly became much easier to spot people who were trying to be sneaky by crawling around in the grass. But that doesn't mean you can't hide in any grass at all. There are certain grassy patches, usually in the fields of the maps, that are longer than your usual grass. This will render in much more often, meaning you're less likely to get spotted by a sneaky sniper. Still, it's a pretty big risk, so unless you have either no choice but to go low as a last-ditch attempt to survive, or the zone is small enough that you don't need to worry about the grass not rendering, you really shouldn't go onto the ground when you're under fire. Number 5. You can hold your breath while you're aiming down sights. If you're aiming down sights, you can actually use the shift button to hold your breath, and depending on the sights you have equipped, a bunch of different effects could happen. If you have just a standard sight like the red dot, the holographic sights, or even just the iron sights, you'll zoom in slightly. This obviously gives you a better and more stable shot for anyone that's just a little bit too far away for those types of sights to work normally. If you've got a better sight than that, basically any of the scopes in the game, you'll no longer be able to zoom in slightly when you push shift. Instead, your aim gets much more stable, and you don't get that annoying idle sway that can seriously make you miss your shots at longer ranges. When holding your breath, your gun stays dead straight, allowing you to hit shots as far out as you want. Well, as long as your accuracy is pretty good, I guess. You do have to be careful when you do this though, because it's not like you can hold your breath forever. If you do hold your breath for too long, then you'll run out and won't be able to hold your breath again for a while. This will recharge over time, but if you run out at the wrong moment, it could basically be the difference between life and death. Number 4. You can cancel a grenade throw. Have you ever accidentally pulled the pin on a grenade when maybe you didn't want to throw it? Maybe you're worried that the explosion will draw attention, or you haven't got the right angle on your throw and you just accidentally click the button and now you have a live grenade in your hand. You might think that your only two options are either to throw the grenade and waste it, or let it go off in your hands and die a horribly silly death, but there is another third option that you probably haven't considered trying. If you're quick, you can actually cancel your grenade throw by opening up your inventory, removing the grenade from the active slot of your inventory, and straight back into your backpack. You might think that this could just leave a live nade in your pack, but for some reason the game just cancels the throw altogether, and that means the explosion too. Seriously, this one can really help if you've accidentally started throwing a grenade and you didn't mean to. A quick grenade throw can really change the course of a fight, so it's probably just better that you don't throw them away because you accidentally clicked the wrong button in a panic. Number 3. You can control motorcycles in air by holding space and control. Driving motorcycles is probably one of the most fun and dangerous things you can do in PUBG. These vehicles are really fast, really agile, and really easy to crash. Like, I don't know how many games of PUBG I've lost just because I accidentally lost control of my bike and ended up faceplanting in the dirt. It's a pretty common way to go if you don't know what you're doing on a bike, which is why it's probably best that you know bikes have a couple of extra controls that no other vehicle in the game has so far. By using the space and control buttons, you can actually adapt your movement in the air forwards and backwards, allowing you to angle the front of the bike up or down depending on how you're coming in for a landing. If you use these new control abilities and learn how to master them, you'll pretty much never crash your bike from a badly timed jump again, well, as long as you don't sail straight into a tree after the jump, that is. There's no way that angling your wheels in certain ways would save you from that. Although if you decide to get really risky with your newfound air control skills, you could start doing some pretty insane tricks. If you've ever wondered how people have been doing those front flips or back flips with their bikes, it's all to do with using the control and space buttons properly. So next time you get a bike, make sure to head over to the hills and give them your best try. And then probably land on your head a whole bunch as you figure out how to use them. Number 2, you can move after using a healing item. One of the most annoying things about PUBG is the fact that you can't move while you're using meds. It doesn't matter if it's bandages, a first aid kit, or a full-blown med kit, you cannot move while you're using it. Even painkillers and energy drinks are affected by this. Like, do you have any idea how much this game would change if you were able to do that? You wouldn't have to stay pinned down while medding up. You wouldn't have to just stand there in the blue zone while taking a whole bunch of damage and trying to heal it back up. You could keep on the move at all times. It would just be better. Now, I'm not going to suddenly turn around and say that there is a way for you to move all throughout your medication process in PUBG, but I will say that you're probably doing it wrong. If you wait until the animation and timer is completely finished, then you're wasting around a half a second of time. That doesn't sound like much, right? But if you're running to the blue zone or trying to fight back against an enemy on low health, then half a second could be the difference between death and a chicken dinner. Basically, if you wait until the last half a second of the timer on your healing, you'll be able to move without canceling the entire animation and having to start again. You'll still be healed and you'll be able to move just a little bit quicker than usual. Like I said, it doesn't sound like much, but it really does help. Every second counts, even half seconds. Number 1, hold Alt to look around freely while moving your character. Have you ever found yourself getting shot in the back or just being a second too slow to turn around in a game of PUBG? Well, that's probably because you haven't been using one simple tactic that will absolutely revolutionize the way you play the game. Learning how to do this is probably the most important thing to do in PUBG next to learning how to aim properly. And I'm gonna take a shot in the dark and guess that most of you know this, but for those that don't, this is super important. You can actually look around without moving your player model. Basically, if you hold Alt, you can move your camera around without it affecting your player model at all. If you're sitting in a corner of a room waiting for someone to come across your ambush, then you can hold Alt, look around, and your character will stay completely still. If you're a little bit more brave and daring, then you can run across the fields while looking behind you or to the sides of you, all while sprinting forwards. This little change to your gameplay will give you a superior level of tactical awareness, allowing you to know where threats are coming from no matter which way you're running. And there you have it, our list of the 7 things you didn't know about PUBG. Do you agree? Did we miss something? Let us know in the comments down below, and don't forget to subscribe for more great videos from ArcadeCloud on Wednesdays, Saturdays, and Sundays. Take care and game on.